Sexual Follies. So we're running out of time, and this is kind of a serious topic, but there is something I want to say about the gun debate. One of the ideas that keeps popping up under all the hysteria about guns and the fight of the NRA and all this nonsense that really has nothing to do with what happened is how many of these shooters are fatherless kids. A lot of them are fatherless kids. And it's not obviously just mass shooters, but Peter Hasson of Campus Reform, we had one of their ladies on, but he wrote an article a few years back where he says, you know, there's a direct correlation between fatherless children and teen violence. Fatherless children are more than twice as likely to commit suicide. Dropping out of school, 71% of high school dropouts came from a fatherless background. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, fatherless children are at a dramatically greater risk of drug and alcohol use. Two of the strongest correlations with gun homicides are growing up in a fatherless household and dropping out of school, which itself is directly related to the lack of an active and present father. And, you know, I've been in prisons because for my novels, I'll sometimes do a prison scene. I vow, each time I do it, I vow never to do it again, because going to prison, even visiting it for research, is one of the most depressing experiences you will ever have in your entire life. When the door closes behind you, you think, the first time I went into a prison, I turned to the guard and I said, remind me never to commit a crime, you know, because it's like, you do not want to go to prison. But when you go through, you know, what you see, I mean, maybe if you were a leftist, what you would see is, oh, this person is dark skinned or something like that. What I saw, each cell, every single cell, fatherless, fatherless, fatherless. One of the things we don't talk about a fatherless household, and this is another reason I dislike feminism so much, is that one of the things a father does, not only does he serve as probably a stronger disciplinarian than the mother, not in every household, but in many households, also serves as a role model of how to be a faithful husband, how to deal with women who are tremendous pain in the neck, as you know, and how to deal with them without violence or cruelty, how to deal with respect for their mothers, how to walk like a man in the world. And those are all things that boys learn directly from their father. But the other thing we don't talk about is that having a father in the home allows a mother to be a mother. I mean, when people pay tribute to their single mothers because they did a good job, they always say, well, she was a mother and a father to me. She fulfilled both the mother and the father role. But that is not optimal. What you want is a mother who can be feminine, who can pay more attention to the home. And this is one of the things I hate so much about feminism, is that it despises femininity. You know, when people say, well, there's no difference between a man and a woman, which is just a patent lie, conservatives get so upset and they say, well, here's the science, and the science says this. But what they never say is, why would you even want that to be true? Femininity is a good. Masculinity is a good. Obviously, like everything in life, there are bad sides to femininity, and obviously there are bad sides to masculinity, but these are good things, positive, godly gifts that each of us is assigned to embody in our gender, you know, and that there, yes, are there men with lots of feminine traits? Sure. Are there women with masculine traits? Sure. But we're talking about generalities here. In generalities, women are much better at being women than they are at being men, and men are much better at being men than they are at being women, and that's a good thing. And so when you have a father in the home, what you have is a mother. And I think, like, nobody ever looks at this, is how much of a correlation there is with women who aren't home, who don't pay attention to their kids, who aren't a constant presence in that. I think that is something little children need. They need moms. They need moms. That's not a stigma. That's not a habit. That's not an opinion. It's the truth. It is simply the way people were built. I mean, you know, all these people who are so scientific, they believe in evolution. How do you think we were evolved? What do you think we were evolved to do? To recreate and survive. And how do we do that? We have mothers taking care of little children, and we have fathers taking care of mothers so that mothers can take care of little children. That is the way the system works. And so one of the worst things about fatherless homes is that it deprives the woman of a chance to do what most women so love doing, which is building a home and taking care of children. And the feminists who despise femininity because it doesn't necessarily get the big jobs. Femininity maybe doesn't lead you to be as driven in the workplace. You know, they keep talking these strong women. I want strong women. If I wanted to marry strong, I would have married Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not what I needed in my life. That's not what I needed to make me a better person. That's not what I needed to make my home a good home for children to live in. I needed somebody who was a little less strong. I needed somebody who was a little more emotional, a little more attached to people, less attached to things, a little less attached to work, more attached to relationships. Those are the things that make a home, and that what the Catholics call complementarity, the fact that men and women go together and form a whole, is something that the feminists oppose tooth and nail, because all they think about is materialism. Because they're Marxists, they think about money and success and all the things that women have traditionally said not as important as what I'm doing. And all those women, those traditional women, were absolutely right. All right, tomorrow is the mailbag. Hit the dailywire.com, subscribe, hit the podcast button, go to the Andrew Klavan podcast, and hit the mailbag. Ask your questions. Answers guaranteed 100% correct. Will change your life, maybe for the better. I'm Andrew Klavan. This is the Andrew Klavan Show. We'll see you tomorrow. The Andrew Klavan Show is produced by Robert Sterling. Executive producer, Jeremy Boring. Senior producer, Jonathan Hay. Our supervising producer is Mathis Glover. Technical producer, Austin Stevens. Edited by Alex Zingaro. Audio is mixed by Mike Cormina. Hair and makeup is by Jesua Alvera. And our animations are by Cynthia Angulo and Jacob Jackson. The Andrew Klavan Show is a Daily Wire Forward Publishing production. Copyright Forward Publishing 2018.